Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today, we're doing report cards, AFC edition. Max did the NFC. I got caught up with the AFC for obvious reasons, if you know what I mean. So this is based off a couple of things. One, it's based off what we have seen throughout 4 weeks of the NFL season. Two, what were your expectations going in? And this is not a representation for where they're going to end up at the end of the season. It's just for 4 weeks. So sit back, relax. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like the video and comment down below any thoughts, opinions that you guys have. Now, let's get into it. So the first division that we're going to hit up is the AFC East. I'm going to go with the best team in the AFC in my opinion. It's the Buffalo Bills. They're 4-0. They're the only undefeated team in the AFC. And I mean, come on. In my opinion, I feel like they have the MVP quarterback in Josh Allen. They have the best point differential in the AFC with plus 43. And this team has been #1 in rushing in the NFL throughout 4 weeks. James Cook has been very impressive. The one downfall that I would say about the Buffalo Bills is that their run defense is very, very poor. We seen that week 1 against Derrick Henry. They fortunately won that game, so that was good for them. But overall, this team is a Super Bowl contender. They're proving why. Josh Allen MVP. There's not much else to be said. A for the Buffalo Bills. Okay, next up we got the New England Patriots, who started off the season kind of rough because they lost to the Raiders. Christian Gonzalez didn't play in that game. Will Campbell was a little bit banged up. And then the loss to the Steelers, they just had a bunch of turnovers. They could not take care of the ball. They just blew out Carolina last week. I'm not going to say that this team can make the playoffs, but they've been very impressive throughout 4 weeks for what our expectation was for the New England Patriots. For them, I'm giving them a B. All right, next up, we got the Jets. The Jets, man, are going to be a D. Look, obviously, they're 0-4. Justin Fields missed the game, basically 2 games with that concussion because he got hurt in the beginning of that one. And it just has not looked good. But look, we all knew this was a rebuild team. There's a lot of holes in it. The defense has its moments, but it's nothing really special. I'm giving them a D. Now the Miami Dolphins, on the other hand, I'm giving them a D as well. And honestly, if it wasn't for the last 2 weeks, I probably would have gave them an F. They beat the Jets last game on Monday Night Football. They looked decent. But the game against the Bills was very impressive. They stood in that game. Tua is just not the guy. Me and Max kind of seen this coming, the bad start. It looks like McDaniels is going to keep his job for now, but don't be surprised if this team just winds up going downhill even more than they are right now, and Mike McDaniels winds up getting fired. I'm giving him a D. Be lucky that you guys didn't get an F. Okay, now let's go to the AFC West. Let's start off with the Chargers, man. The Chargers have been very, very impressive. The fact that they started off 3-0, and not to mention that 3 of those opponents were division opponents, was absolutely unreal. They came out, they made a statement against the Chiefs to start it off. They beat the Raiders, they beat the Broncos. The only flaw on their record is really that Giants loss. But the injuries are kind of catching up to them. They lost Joe Alt. They already had lost Rashawn Slater. And hopefully this doesn't affect the passing game. But Quentin Johnston is looking like a #1 receiver out there. Keenan Allen is looking like a spring chicken. And then the rookie Omarion Hampton is looking better than ever. Minter is having the defense playing phenomenal. Dayon Henley is definitely taking that next step and putting himself in the conversation of a top 5 linebacker in the NFL. Chargers, I'm giving them an A. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone was worried about the Chiefs. They started off 0-2. They wound up getting 2 wins in a row. A get-right game against the Giants, and then they wound up just beating down the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs are going to be fine, guys. With all things considered, I'm giving them a C. It's nothing great, but it's nothing catastrophic to the point where this team was going to miss the playoffs. They're 1 game out of first place in the AFC West 4 weeks in. And people were saying that this was a horrible start. Travis Kelce was looking like a shell of himself. Patrick Mahomes is not the guy anymore. They had some injuries with Xavier Worthy. Plus, they don't get Rashid Rice until another 2 weeks. I think this team is going to be fine. Nothing crazy for the first 4 weeks. C for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now let's go to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos kind of disappointed me. But if you really look into the losses, you can probably argue that this team could be 4-0. Bo Nix has had these weird interceptions and uncharacteristic stuff going on with him, but I think he found his groove. They just beat the crap out of the Bengals on Monday Night Football. They have an easy schedule coming up. I would not be surprised in about 5 to 6 weeks, you're going to be seeing the Denver Broncos on top of the AFC West. I'm giving them a B. Now we got my Las Vegas Raiders. Look, as much as I want to give them an F, in reality, they're a D. Everyone kind of got fooled by week 1 beating the New England Patriots, but the Raiders, in all honesty, are lost on offense. They have one of the worst offensive lines in football. Ashton Genty finally broke out last week against the Chicago Bears, but the Raiders find ways to lose games, guys. Their defense is really solid. I think they're an underrated unit in the NFL. Their defensive line with Max Crosby, they play extremely hard. Their secondary is very young, but their defense overall is pretty solid. The offense is the problem. They just lost Colton Miller, so it doesn't get any better for this offensive line. Geno Smith leads the league in interceptions. It just does not look good for the Raiders on offense. I'm giving them a D. Let's move on over to the AFC North. Let's start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're surprisingly 3-1 going into their bye week. And look, you can say what you want, that you don't believe in them. At the end of the day, they're 3-1. Their only loss was to the Seahawks, and it's not surprising because I feel like the Seahawks have an elite defense. But the Steelers look a whole lot better on offense than they did last year. DK Metcalf has had some big plays. Jalen Warren and Kenny Gainwell have been pretty solid at running back. Their defense is finally starting to get their groove back with creating turnovers. It looked very shaky the first 2 weeks, but I'm not too worried about them. And Aaron Rodgers, man, we'll have to wait and see. It's kind of weird because he's playing a whole different style than what he used to play. It's all short passes underneath. He doesn't really push the ball downfield. But hey, it works. They're 3-1. For now, I'm giving them an A. They're taking advantage of the weak AFC North with Lamar hurt, Joe Burrow hurt, and the Browns are the Browns. A for the Steelers. Speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, honestly, I want to give them an F based off the expectations that this podcast had for the Ravens. Let's start off with the defense. The defense is decimated with injuries, but they are dead last in almost every statistical category on defense. Plus, we have the fumbling issues with Derrick Henry, and not to mention, Lamar Jackson is out for the next 3 to 4 weeks. It's not looking good for the Baltimore Ravens. It might be the season from hell for the Baltimore Ravens. We'll have to wait and see. I'm giving them a D. It's just not looking good in Baltimore. Let's go to another injury-riddled team, and let's hit the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, obviously, they lost Joe Burrow. That's the biggest headline coming out of Cincinnati. Their quarterback play is an issue. Jake Browning is not the guy. This is what happens when you pay all those guys on offense. And the Bengals offensive line is just terrible. Their defense looks all right this year. It's better than last year, but that's not saying much. Jamar Chase is having temper tantrums on the sidelines, and I don't see it getting any better from here. They need to trade for a quarterback if they have any chance of their season being saved, and maybe Joe Burrow coming back late in the season to make a playoff push, but I highly doubt it. I think this is going to be a loss year for the Cincinnati Bengals. D for the Bengals. Now let's go to Cleveland. I gave the Browns a D, and honestly, I wanted to give them higher, but their offense is pretty freaking bad. Quinshon Judkins I like, and the offensive line is decent when it comes to run blocking, but the quarterback play is terrible. They finally benched Joe Flacco this week. They're going to start Dylan Gabriel. We'll see how that whole quarterback situation turns out, but their offense is pathetic. All right, let's move to the AFC South, the last division that we got to talk about. I want to start off with the Indianapolis Colts because they have been shockingly impressive this year. A lot of people were shitting on them for the whole Anthony Richardson situation. It turns out that Danny Dimes, aka Indiana Jones, is a great fit for this Indianapolis Colts team. Jonathan Taylor, he looks healthy and he looks like his old self. This offensive line proved me and Max way wrong. Their defense creates turnovers when they need to. Cam Bynum has been amazing for this team. You can honestly argue that this team could be 4-0. Therefore, I'm giving them an A because of the expectations that they had going into the season, and they have absolutely exceeded it. Tyler Warren's looking like a boss. Like, this whole team is gelling together, and they finally have an identity. Now let's move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I also have them as an A. Look, I know they had a weird game against Cincinnati where they lost to Jake Browning, but honestly, they have been so freaking good on defense. I don't think enough people are talking about this defense for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lead the league in turnovers. Now, the offense, on the other hand, it is weird. They're running the ball very efficiently with Travis Etienne. BTJ is kind of struggling in the pass game along with Trevor Lawrence, but hey, they're 3-1. It looks like they're going to be battling with the Colts for this division. They've been taking care of business. Has it been great and blowout city? No, but they're still winning games at the end of the day. And 4 weeks in, I'm giving them an A. Now let's go to the Houston Texans, who have been a complete disappointment. Their offense is putrid. It's terrible. CJ Stroud, everyone thought a sophomore slump last year. It's looking like a third-year slump this year. Their weapons are not all that good. It's really Nico Collins or bust. I feel more confident in the Colts and the Jaguars than the Texans. The thing that saves this team is their defense. Their defense is absolutely legit. They have the best scoring defense in the league, shockingly. So their defense tries their best to keep them in games, but their offense just can't score. They struggle to get downfield. Everyone thought Houston was going to run away with this division. It turns out it's going to be a struggle bus to even get back in it. I got a D for the Texans. Okay, I saved the Tennessee Titans for last. Look, I'm just going to say it. It's an F. They are the worst team in the league by far. You can argue that the Saints are probably the other worst team on the NFC, but on the AFC side, they are the worst team in the AFC and possibly in the NFL. Cam Ward, I like what I see. I really do. But this coaching staff is incompetent. It looks like they're going to be firing Callahan pretty soon. Their offense is terrible, and their defense is not any better. I don't see it getting any better, and I'm really worried that this is going to stunt Cam Ward's career. F for the Tennessee Titans. So that's going to do it. There's your report cards for the AFC throughout 4 weeks, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you guys love NFL content just like this, you come to the right place. We do podcasts, we do videos like this, we do film breakdowns, everything NFL, we do it here on this channel. Make sure to hit that like button. It gets our podcast out there and it helps us out a bunch with the algorithm. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure to comment down below any thoughts, opinions that you guys have. Am I crazy on some grades? Am I overreacting, underreacting? Like I said, this is 4 weeks in. This is not the entire season. We got a lot more ball to play. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.